evening and welcome to the Public Global. Today we'll be discussing a Russian crude oil import deal that the Reliance company has done with ROSNEFT. Reliance Industries, in its biggest deal with Russia, has done a Russian energy deal worth USD $13 billion. What impact it has on us as consumers or as nation, we are going to discuss that today. So first of all, I'll tell you what this deal is all about and how the prices of crude oil will affect the prices of petrol and diesel that we pay. Reliance Industry, in its biggest deal so far, has made a deal of $13 billion with a Russian company called ROSNEFT. It will ship 500,000 barrels per day of crude oil, various crude grades, from Russia into India. This deal, over a period of next 10 years, is going to be worth $13 billion at current prices. However, pricing and volumes would be discussed on a month-to-month basis. Sources say that this agreement will strengthen India-Russian relationship as India benefits from cheap Russian oil amid Western sanctions. If you remember, the European Union and America had banned Russian crude purchase because of the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war that started in 2022 in the month of June, July. And after that, India has been a beneficiary by importing a crude oil which had a fixed spot rate of $50 and $60 per barrel, according to whichever grade you're purchasing. Insurance and freight costs used to cost about $9 per barrel, which escalated to $18 per barrel in the coming year. There were widespread questions that why there is an increase of $9 per barrel cost escalation. It was found that a company called Gatwick, which was registered in a suburbs in Mumbai, was operating these ships which were taking oil from the Russian ports from ROSNEFT and escalating the cost from $60 to $78 a barrel till it was arriving at the refineries. We have refineries like Bharat Petroleum, Hindustan Petroleum, and we have refineries like ONGC and Indian Oil. They were earlier negotiating rates for Russian crude oil. This is the first time that a private company, which is a Reliance company from the Jamnagar plant, has negotiated this deal, which means that in times to come, only private players will be able to negotiate deals of such importance where crude oil or other kind of energy requirements or maybe satellite links that provide us 4G, 5G connections or satellite links that provide us internet connectivity. GPS activity will also be negotiated by private parties. So there's a tectonical shift from public sector undertakings who are negotiating these essential commodities with foreign countries. Now Reliance has taken over them. And how it will impact the prices of petrol and diesel. Last year that we saw in last 10 years, government has earned close to 36 lakh crore rupees by not dropping the prices of petrol and diesel. In Delhi, if you say we get diesel at 87 rupees, petrol is more expensive at 91. Similarly, in other states, due to freight and transportation costs, the prices differ by 3 to 4 rupees. In Mumbai, for example, you get petrol maybe over 100 rupees and diesel under 100 rupees. In Goa also, the prices of petrol and diesel are much higher than what you get in Delhi. So what price impact will the customer have, will the consumer have? Will this deal will lead to a reduction in prices for us? Will it lead to a less fuel inflation? We have seen largely incomes or wages generation over last 10 years have been eaten up by the inflation. We paid high food inflation, we paid high fuel inflation, and because of high fuel inflation, every commodity, every essential item is expensive because the transportation cost escalates because of this. What the government is trying to do, whether by this deal they will reduce the prices or maybe will try and reduce VAT and cess so that those indirect taxes gets rationalized and we have to pay less taxes. We'll have to see in due course of time. The 10-year agreement amounts to 0.5% of global supply. Under the deal, ROSNEFT will deliver 20 to 21 Aframax size cargoes. This Aframax size cargoes will have 80,000 to 100,000 metric tons of various Russian grades, and 3 cargoes of about 100,000 tons of each of fuel each month. If I compare it to back in July, India has now become the biggest importer of Russian oil, surpassing China. Data on Indian shipment from trade and industry showed that the country imported $2.07 million per day, barrel per day of Russian crude in July, good for a 4.2% month-on-month increase and 12% year-on-year increase. That exceeded China's July import by 1.76 million barrels per day. So China was importing 1.76 barrels per day, and India this July has imported 2.07 barrels per day via pipeline and shipment. This data has come from Chinese custom data and has been quoted by Reuters. Indian rising in Russian import have come at an expense of rival Middle Eastern countries. Reliance ROSNEFT deal would represent another challenge for competition, including Saudi Arabia. Now we'll come to the past, how the pricing would be defined. State refiners have been seeking oil at a discount for more than $5 a barrel to dated Brent, which comes from the Brent that OPEC countries are selling. So refineries were under the impression that we will get Moscow Russian crude oil or the SAR crude that we buy at least $5 a barrel less. But Moscow is now only offering a crude at a discount of $3 a barrel less, which shows that Russia is unwilling to reduce its cost of crude because it sees Indian dependency on Russian crude is higher than usual. India has been isolated in a lot of things in dealing with their South American or South African countries. You remember Prime Minister Modi visited Guyana, and there he was willing to strike a deal where some Indian businesses will get some leverage with the government, but till date, nothing has come much. So our policies for entering into African countries, for getting the Kenya International Airport, the renewable energy projects for Adani, nothing has come much. So Russia is also realizing that over-dependence of Russia on Russia by Indian refinery companies, they are not ready to budge for less than $3 of difference per barrel, which means that the discount for one Russian grade blew out to more than $30 after the war, before narrowing down now to only $3. So when the crude was capped at $50 a barrel, that time the Brent crude was selling at $79, $80, $85 a barrel. So there was a clear markup or a markdown of $30 a barrel. Now that markdown has been reduced to $3, and apart from that, the Russian that from the ports, the shipment and the insurance cost has escalated from $9 a barrel to $18 a barrel. So there is not much cost advantage left. Indian Oil is the only state refinery which was previously having a long-term supply deal with Russia, but that expired at the end of March and hasn't been renewed due to the lack of consensus on volumes and price. Indian refineries have been buying Russian crude at a discount to Brent ever since Western countries curtailed import of Russian energy commodities following its invasion from Ukraine. India's purchase of Russian ESPO blend crude jumped in July to 188,000 barrels per day as larger Suezmax vessels were used. Refiners in northeast China are typically the biggest ESPO buyers thanks to their close proximity to Russia. However, they are now buying less due to tepid fuel demand, and also the difference of price is less. The shipments will be supplied for Reliance Refinery Complex, as I said, the world's biggest at Jamnagar in the western state of Gujarat. Two sources said Reliance and ROSNEFT will review pricing and volumes every year under the deal to factor in oil market dynamics. In 2024, Reliance had a deal with ROSNEFT to purchase 3 million barrels of crude a month. Now it will go to 500,000 barrels per month. Per day. And ROSNEFT has been also selling crude to Reliance via intermediaries on a regular basis. But now, since this deal will basically incorporate 50% of production of ROSNEFT will be given to Reliance or Jamnagar refinery directly, there will not be much space for intermediaries or middlemen to do direct deals. So that is out. From January to October, Reliance had imported 405,000 barrels per day of Russian oil, which has been standard, up from 388,500 barrels per day in the same period last year. And now that will grow to 500,000 barrels per day. So the new deal was discussed and approved during ROSNEFT board meeting in November. Two of the sources said supplies will start in January and are set to continue for 10 years with an option to extend the deal for another 10 years. So this is what it is. The pricing of the grades to be supplied on delivered basis is set a differential to the average Dubai price of the loading month. So, for example, if the loading month of January has a price, the Dubai price of the OPEC countries is, let's say, $75 for sweet crude. The price for ESPO will be $1.5 less. For the Sokol brand, premium is $2 less. And for Siberian Light, a variety of crude would be about $1 per barrel less. So Dubai quote whatever it quotes for 2025, they will discount it by $1, $1.50, and $2 a barrel. So the majority of the supply will be medium sulfur and diesel-rich Russian oils that are most popular with Indian refiners and will be priced at a discount of, as I said, $3 per barrel, less to Dubai quotes for the following year. So Reliance says it works with international suppliers, including from Russia, and deals are based on market conditions. This deal comes close to Vladimir Putin's visit to Delhi in the coming month. Donald Trump, however, wants to put an end to the war, and it has requested Moscow to look into how a war with Ukraine can be stopped, because now what you see in Syria, Russia, Iran, and also parts of Lebanon and Turkey have been leading proxy wars in Syria against each other. And who's benefiting? People who are with Al Qaeda, people who are with ISIS, they are benefiting. We are having a close watch on Syria, what's happening there, how the regime change is going to happen, what rules are going to come, how laws are going to be administered, whether it's going to be a presidential form of government or whether it's going to be a democracy led by a parliament. So we'll wait and watch. Our job is to give you correct news, bring in whatever latest information we have. If you like our program, please write in the comment box. How do you like it? How we can make it better? And what more news would you like to hear from us? This is from Public Global. My name is Atamjeet Singh. Thank you and goodbye until next Tuesday.